welcome to this update video. I hope you're doing good this morning. So we're taking a look at the 7-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We've got two disturbances along with Tropical Storm Alberto, which is making its way into Mexico, and it has been inducing those tropical storm conditions which are going to be continuing. But once the system fully moves in, it is going to be cut off from its source of energy and thus will rapidly dissipate. But there's still going to be that rainfall threat, especially for northeastern Mexico. So there's that marked disturbance over northern Honduras right now, and it is going to be making its way to the northwest into the Gulf and could take on something similar to Alberto. So as I mentioned, if you watched my update video last evening, we could be seeing a deja vu scenario with this, where it's going to be really similar to what we've seen happen with Alberto. In addition, we've got what is now designated as Invest 92L. So that is the disturbance just off the northern Bahamas that is going to be drifting to the southeastern United States. Now, models are not expecting much development out of this. Let's look at the model intensity guidance. So what we're seeing here are these different models, and we can see that green shading to show tropical storm intensity. Now we can see that most models here, they remain within the white shaded. Most models are not expecting that the system is going to be reaching tropical storm status with time. So it's struggling out there and is unlikely to develop. However, it could definitely produce some well-needed rainfall for parts of the southeastern states. Now, as it relates to what we could see happen over the course of the coming weeks, things will be getting more active in the main development region. So since the start of the hurricane season, there wasn't the need to necessarily be watching the main development region for something earlier on in the season, within the month once the season began. Because, even though the tropical waves, yes, they were coming off, conditions were not conducive enough to allow for development. However, we are likely to see that change as we head into the coming weeks. For example, models have been hinting at seeing one of these tropical waves coming off of Africa actually make their way to the Caribbean and try to get itself together, try to become something out there. So we're going to be taking a look at the ensemble forecasts for both the GFS and the Euro model. But first, we're heading to the satellite imagery here. So we can see all this activity in South Texas and eastern Mexico associated with Alberto. So Alberto is moving in, as I said. And then up there, that little cluster of convection is associated with Invest 92L. And then where we've got our new disturbance, which may likely become Invest 93L eventually, we can see a lot of moisture around Central America. So the area remains very active. And as we head to the Central Caribbean as well, is quite active. Lots of showers and thunderstorms in some areas, and some of these islands will receive a lot of heavy rain in some spots as we head into later today. But it's a bit drier in the east, and then as we look out to the main development region, there are a couple tropical waves. And right here, this one that seems to be emerging looked a lot more impressive last evening, but since then it's been losing some of that momentum. So let's go ahead and now talk about the rainfall forecast for today. Here we can see it. We've got some of these very colorful shadings, those shadings of pinks across parts of Central America, southern Guatemala, El Salvador, western Honduras, northwest Nicaragua. So there could be a lot of heavy rain today in this area, and even for northern Belize as well. And there's actually been some heavy downpours already across some areas. So it's just going to continue throughout today, the heavy rainfall, things like that. And as we head to the vicinity of the Cayman Islands, some heavy rain and thunderstorms are definitely possible. Similar thing for Jamaica for some areas, especially as we head into the afternoon. And sometimes as well with these afternoon downpours, especially if it is a quick heavy downpour, it may actually result in some level of flooding. So that is going to be a possibility as well. In case you encounter any flood waters by chance today, please don't take any unnecessary risks and stay safe as best as possible. For parts of Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands as well, there could also be some showers and thunderstorms around. And as we head to the vicinity of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Leeward Islands as well, well, there could definitely be some showers and thunderstorms there. As we head south to the Windward Islands, especially for Barbados, Grenada, the Grenadines, there may not be as much rain today, but a few passing showers are possible. Then down to Trinidad and Tobago, there may be a more decent probability of some rainfall activity taking place somewhere. And then for the ABC Islands, it's going to be on the drier side. Northern South America will be active from Colombia through the Guyanas. Now, as I mentioned, let's go ahead and take a look at what the models have to show as it pertains to seeing development. So we have the ensemble map here from the Euro. Now, this goes out to the next 10 days, and some of those strokes that we're seeing are associated with, for example, the invest area that we have headed towards the southeastern states, that next area to watch that will be moving into the Gulf, and even for Alberta itself. But we're seeing here that there are some other L's around, especially for the main development region headed to the vicinity of the Caribbean. And the more of them we see, the more members that we see, is indicating a greater chance of us actually having an area to watch around that time. Now, for right now, the dust, the Saharan dust, remains very much dominant across the main development region, and it allows for a drier, more stable atmosphere, thus inhibiting development. So we've definitely had our tropical waves making their way across the area, but in terms of seeing them developed, we've not had any being marked within the main development region to be watched for development. However, that is bound to change, especially as we head into late July and August, when things really start ramping up. So once we start to have these more substantial breaks in the Saharan dust and these tropical waves moisten the air a bit in the lower and the mid levels, then we're going to see a more conducive environment being created for tropical cyclone development. So we could eventually see these tropical waves really trying to get themselves together as they move toward the Caribbean. So we've got the Euro model definitely expecting that we will see that kind of a scenario, and also the GFS. So the GFS ensemble members through the next 10 days as well. This goes out to Saturday evening, the 29th of June. So we can see that the members are also picking up on something similar. So we could see it could probably be the most recent tropical wave that we're seeing emerging off of Africa, or another one that may try to get itself together if the environment permits. So as I said, the dust is quite dominant, but once we have a break in that dust to the point where we can actually see some development, it is likely to take place. But my channel is here to keep you posted on all that is happening. But also, this is not a full guarantee that yes, we're going to see development at the end of June and into July in the main development region. It's not a guarantee. We'll have to wait and see if models remain consistent, if they're starting to really show an airflow pressure forming and getting itself together on approach to the Caribbean. So we'll have to be keeping watch for that, especially through the coming week. And that is exactly what I'll be doing and keeping you guys posted on. So that is it for right now, and I really do hope you found this video to be informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I get the chance to do so, and remember to always be weatherwise.